In 1494, Sebastian Brandt wrote the satirical poem Ship of Fools, which portrays a ship populated by people of all kinds, all foolishly chasing a supposed paradise without a pilot. Plato also used this ship analogy, illustrating how a democracy with the freedom it bestows can allow anyone to claim the helm, regardless of their knowledge or skill. And so, dear listener, today's essay is about the paradigm of the useful idiot and the carnage that can ensue when they and their idiotic ways or influence are allowed anywhere near the levers of power. Wherever you look, the world is full of useful idiots doing their idiot things. I think it was Vladimir Lenin who coined the phrase the useful idiot. The idea being that you somehow recruit those who will promote your cause far and wide, while at the same time knowing that you have hidden certain facts or your real agenda from them, leaving them cloaked in the illusion of some noble cause for which they will martyr themselves. And if you've done your job really well, they will continue to recruit themselves without any effort from you at all. It becomes a form of self-recruiting, self-reproducing idiocy. They, as Lenin stated, become quite useful to you, but at the same time are idiots in the sense that what you're about cannot be seen by them, either because of their stupidity or willful ignorance. Useful idiots come in all shapes and sizes, and declare support for every kind of moral cause under the sun. Their cause is usually framed by some kind of emotional call to arms, where feelings and emotion become the driving force behind all the support they hope to garner. When you dig down, there is rarely any rational or logical thought behind whatever it is they are supporting. But there is usually a celebrity actor or activist standing at the front waiting to be snapped with their righteousness on full display. All introspection or analysis is suppressed or bypassed because such methodical approaches will get in the way of stirring people up. It may give them an opportunity to think for themselves, and we can't have that. This whole movement needs to be fueled by feelings and emotion to keep momentum going, to keep things on track. Having too much to think could cause a problem, or lead one to question the cause, or its leader, all the way up there on that pedestal of protestation, casting aspersions on all those deniers, those outies, looking in from the outside. Facts and reality can sink a big ship, or even a little one, sailing its way across the Mediterranean into a war zone. Yes, little holes can sink a big ship, as Benjamin Franklin once said. But when your ship of fools is weighed down with such emotional cargo, then those holes will just have to ignore reality and come into alignment with the fantasy world of Greta Thunberg, Sweden's iconic national embarrassment, and the dictionary definition of the useful idiot. Maybe when you're 16 or 17, protesting climate change, with your house is on fire, metaphor, we could look away. With someone so young, we could have just put it down to some hapless teenage attention-seeking, facilitated by overindulgent parenting. Yes, we could easily have justified looking the other way, as we were bombarded with her childish and factually vacuous whining, while at the same time, I'm sure millions were piling up in some bank account somewhere. If you believe all that was done in the name of some altruistic crusade, then I have a bridge I'd like to sell you. Of course, like all pyramid schemes, these things are doomed to collapse, along with the fantasies of the useful idiot disciples and minions, of which there were plenty, in this case. I met some of them. "I've got Greta's phone number and my mobile," a prominent Irish Greta disciple told me on the streets of Cork one afternoon. Interestingly enough, this disciple, like Greta herself, seems to have also become a recent convert to Palestinianism. the in vogue religion of the moment. Kafirs and Free Palestine slogans are plentiful, but all their slogans and catchphrases ring hollow, because they are hollow. These people are like the Russian doll, where one shell will quickly be disposed of to reveal another underneath, the next useful idiot cause they are supporting, usually to further some other fashionable social justice narrative. Saint Greta, or Greta the Great to some, was warned not to approach Gaza in her ship of fools. Apparently, there were 3 or 4 desperate families there that needed her humanitarian aid, because that's all their boat's cargo hold could fit. As it turns out, these celebrity saviors couldn't help themselves and tucked into all that food on their way to left-wing immortality and sainthood. I wondered afterwards, maybe that's why Greta looked so plump in front of the cameras, as she gladly took a turkey sandwich from an Israeli soldier. Of course, this former part-time savior and child actress always knew they were never going to be allowed to land in a war zone. They were banking on that. It was always their plan to be stopped by the Israeli Navy, which would have enabled them to put on their crybaby show and theatrics, expertly playing the role of Israel's latest supposed victim. Yes, Israel bad, Gaza good, Netanyahu bad, Greta great. The problem with 22-year-old entitled brats like Greta Thunberg is that sometimes they have to be protected from themselves, from their own idiotic behavior, because useful idiots do idiotic things. It's in their nature. Useful idiots don't have the sense and cop on to realize that, in all likelihood, the Israeli Navy saved their lives and prevented them from becoming hostages themselves. Real hostages. Not the make-believe kind that exists in the mind of Greta Thunberg. However, the ungrateful brat didn't see it that way, because useful idiots don't see very well. The Israelis kidnapped us, claimed the useful idiot in a pre-recorded video. A despicable statement given the horrors and ongoing imprisonment of those taken on October 7th, those who were actually kidnapped, tortured, and then murdered in captivity, which in fact happened to some. People like Thunberg have no self-awareness and no genuine compassion. It is all fake. They are self-indulgent, self-centered, and self-deluded. Israel gave Thunberg and her acolytes the opportunity to watch the Hamas-recorded October 7 footage. What was their response to the chance to see the reality of what they are supporting? They closed their eyes. They turned away. They didn't want to see. This is what we are dealing with. This is what the pontificating pop-ups are like. The Thunbergs, the Liam Cunninghams, the Ayatollah favourite Taig Hickey, and all the other Hamas useful idiots. When I thought about it, it occurred to me that following the liberation of the camps in Germany after the war, local German citizens were brought to the camps and forced to look at its horrors, forced to confront it. They weren't given a right of refusal. There was no turning away for them. When given the opportunity to see the truth, Thunberg and her crew chose willful blindness. The irony, of course, is that Thunberg, the very person who labelled those who opposed her climate racket as deniers, is now herself in denial when confronted with empirical visual evidence, unlike what she has peddled for years, which has none. These people cannot handle the truth because it will shatter their worldview into 1,000 pieces, and they will lose the adulation of their adoring and mindless minions. A godless person will always cling to a lie because they believe it gives them safety. Thunberg's refusal to look at the October 7 videos and the truth contained therein is telling. She is the same person who preached to us and who was rammed down our throats by an unquestioning media and fawning political elite for a number of years on so-called climate change. Do you genuinely think or believe that she sought out the truth on that? Think about that for a moment. The person who refused to look at the truth of October 7 when given the opportunity. Greta Thunberg, like all useful idiots, is not a truth-seeking person. It is safer and easier for her to continue to live in this fabricated and contrived world of her own making, and that she and those around her have constructed, than to face the harsh realities of October 7. Facing those realities would destroy all that, would bring it all down, this world she has created. It would be like taking a crutch from a cripple.